somewhere out there. And there is a film boy crying that I have held this like a selfie camera. Anyway, so hi, it's me. It's Fel the Blythe wearing my Halloween appropriate shirt because I'm filming this on October 31st, and maybe it'll get out today. Who knows? Hope springs eternal. I decided to get my tripod because there's no way I was gonna hold that and it was gonna look good. But anyway, wow. Here I am in my kitchen. I'm still kind of wearing my pajamas. I'm just eating breakfast and it's 10:31 a.m. I have actually been up and doing things, but ADHD, am I right? So this video, keep feeling like I'm saying all of my videos are different than the ones before. But man, oh man, is this time of year hard. I think I said this in the last video that this is one of the worst burnouts I've ever had. So this video that I'm making is for the pagans like me who struggle with mental health, and that could be chronically or even just a one-time thing, because sometimes even if you're regularly mentally stable or mentally healthy, you know, sometimes life just sucks, or maybe life just doesn't suck, and it's sometimes you're just having a hard time. And what's funny with me is that I don't even feel like, I don't outwardly feel like I'm having a hard time. Like there's nothing really negative that's happening in my life, and like I don't feel depressed as an example, or like I don't feel anxious, but I'm looking around me in the way that I'm behaving and noticing myself exhibiting behaviors of someone who is depressed or someone who is anxious. Like, you know, I wake out of bed and I'm like, I'm gonna do this, or like I get excited, or I generally feel very happy and peppy and hopeful. So that's why it's kind of been bizarre for me to behave like I'm depressed while for the vast majority of time feeling rather pleasant. So this video is just kind of talk about the realities of what that's like to be pagan and want to do all these pagan things, but also generally not feeling it, fam. So part of the reason that I haven't been filming a lot is honestly because my room is a mess. That's usually the first indicator to me that something more is going on, or I'm actually feeling a certain way, even if I feel happy for the most part, is that my room takes the biggest hit. And like usually I'm able to kind of like metaphorically or literally shove things under the rug and move the mess elsewhere, but it's gone to the point where I just can't. No, there's nowhere for me to shove things. Like my altars have been gathering dust. I've been missing sort of monthly celebrations and monthly offerings. I don't remember the last time I celebrated a holiday or even looked at the calendar. And it's hard because part of me is like, okay, is this just because I'm wicked busy and I work all the time, or is it because I'm depressed? And I think the answer is a bit of both. The summer was brutal. I work professionally as a seamstress, and obviously the summer is one of the most popular times for weddings. And good Lord, this wedding season was like increased 300% from like the last wedding season. Barely made it through that. Even though now we're like starting to slow down at work significantly, it's just general stress from like inflation and all of that that's just eating away. And also for a while I had started a new medication, and while I was going through the medication adjustment period, it was like almost medication induced dissociation. So I was physically here, but my brain was like somewhere else in a land made of soup and molasses. And obviously I couldn't get like anything done. I could barely work my regular job while I was going through that period. And while that period has like ended, I'm still kind of waiting for the effects of that new anxiety medication to kick in, and I'm just like, anytime now, anytime. Because this video is about how to be a pagan when it's all too much. One of the things that I was trying to do was clean my room, honestly. Sometimes I get annoyed at like modern witches or pagans who say you know, the first step to good cleansing, magical cleansing, is physical cleansing. And like, I agree. Like, I don't want to say that I don't agree. But sometimes I feel like you have to do the magical, spiritual, energetic cleansing first, even just to get yourself in a psychological mindset. Like, I actually will often shower before I clean, because I go in there and I try to like meditate and ground myself, and I'll burn like nice incense, because it kind of shows my brain that it's time to clean. It's time to do X, Y, and Z. And again, while I agree 100% that cleaning your room or cleaning your space is a great way and a good foundation for spiritual cleansing, if you're struggling with mental health or a neurodivergence, or just you're freaking busy, man, that can be really, really hard. So for me, I actually find it a lot easier to not worry about being like, oh, well, I can't cleanse until XYZ is cleaned. And I don't worry about that. And I'll wash my hands and say a prayer. I'll light incense. I'll light some rosemary and run around the house screaming. I kind of do like a backwards approach, because otherwise I get caught up in like, oh, I can't even magically cleanse because everything's crazy. And then I find once I can do that, I can manage even just one aspect, like putting away my freaking clothes. This video is meant to be a little bit more broad to just pagans in general, but obviously, you know, I'm Phil the Blythe, I'm a hermit polytheist. So for me, that's one of the reasons why I love Hestia, is because I'm looking at my statue of her right now as I talk. I just bought a refill of the candle that I showed in my Hestia video, which is over here. And I love just lighting that candle, praying to her, because then even the smallest act of cleaning becomes an act of worship. I haven't been like super open about this just in my own private life or even publicly, but I am hoping to move at some point in the future, whether that's next year or the year after. My time in my current space has come to a close. And as I clean, I say, as I prepare this space for you, prepare a place for me. And I just chant this prayer over and over again in order to both ground myself, honor Hestia, and feel like the act that I am doing, no matter how small, has significance. Something else that's been really hard for me lately is oftentimes, you know, my All About Offerings video, I talk about doing non-physical offerings, which I guess cleansing and cleaning can be a non-physical offering. But one of the things I mentioned is music or art. And usually I find it, like, I've actually written an album. I don't really share it publicly. Maybe one day I will. But I've written an album. I play early music every single week. Like, music is my life, and I love writing music specifically. But recently, and like, I usually find it very easy. Like, I usually don't get in my head about music, or I don't even get in my head about writing novels, as an example, or writing stories, which is something I've been doing recently. But I like never experienced writer's block ever, which is, I guess, a blessing and also a curse. Maybe one day I'll talk about the resting muse and begging the muses to please leave me alone for once. I just haven't been able to write music, and I haven't been able to write stories consistently. Like, the idea is easy, and ideas have always come really easy to me. So if you ever need any ideas, please just ask me for ideas for something, and I will rattle off a list of random things. Ideas come very easily to me. And like, obviously with ADHD, completion is hard, but for me, the completion part was never about writer's block. The completion was usually just procrastination, or my hyperfixations moving on to something else. Like, it always came naturally to me.
6 hours later.
Oh, where did my tea go? Oh, it's right over there. Hello, I'm back. My camera died. No surprise there. So I had to let it charge for a while, and then I took a shower, bleached my roots, and I did color strip this because I dyed my hair before. Nothing happened, so whatever. It's now 4:30, so approximately 6 hours have passed. What have I done? I've actually been vaguely productive. You guys are really seeing a whole new side of me.
A whole new side.
Anyway, so, as I was saying, I usually don't have trouble finding inspiration, doing creative projects. I mean, that's one of the reasons I have a degree in this, essentially, and other forms of digital art. But I have just really not been able to follow through and complete any of my artistic abilities. I guess it's writer's block. So what I've been doing is kind of just like praying. Like I try to pray to the muses. I'm not gonna say that I do it daily because I really don't. I should. No, we're not gonna should myself. So one thing that's actually been helpful for me to put in perspective is actually one of my friends is Catholic, practicing Catholic. It's actually been very helpful for me to see how people in very established religions live their lives. And so one thing, you know, that's been very helpful for me to see with her is like she's not out here burning candles to saints every single day, lighting incense to saints. She's not even into the like more mystical side of Catholicism. You know, she goes to mass every Sunday and does the holidays, but it's not like she's in this constant state of worship and reverie. That's actually been very helpful for me to see, and kind of this transition, and I talked a little bit about this in my Day in the Life of a Hellenic Polytheist video, in that this is now becoming integrated into my life. But it's still hard because I don't like feeling like a bad pagan, and I feel like a lot of people look up to me especially, and that's why I really try to say, you know, like I'm not perfect. Like I literally have been on a research hiatus since like February at this point. You don't have to hustle your religion, right? We live in an age of hustle culture. Like it's okay if you're just gonna play The Sims for 5 hours straight in a depressed fugue state in your room. Like, I mean, obviously go outside, get help, and I mean that in a very nice way. Like, if you are able to get help, there are free resources out there. Please vet them. I'm not a mental health professional. I can't recommend those. But I'm saying that the gods are not going to be mad at you because you did that. And you're not less of a pagan because you're mentally ill. And it's so hard because if I were looking at this video, if I were researching this, I would want someone to tell me what to do and basically kind of make me a better pagan. But honestly, a lot of it is just self-compassion. And also acknowledging, like, looking at the religious people around you. I know sometimes there's, like, we have a lot of religious baggage and people talk about latent Christianity, but I do think it can be helpful to look at the grounded religious people in your life, and it could be other pagans, and just kind of see how they go about their life. What you'll probably realize is that they're people, and for the vast majority of their time, they're just being people, being mundane people. You know, they're not out here casting spells every 5 seconds. They're not out here weeping and beating the earth and crying out the gods' names. They're not lighting 72-hour candles and they sit in a meditative trance. And like, while those people do exist, most of us don't have the capability to lead lives like monks or nuns. Although sometimes I wish I could be a pagan nun and just kind of live with a group of other pagans and just kind of chill and then have it not spiral into a cult. That'd be nice. But we do live in a society and we have bills to pay, mouths to feed, ain't nothing in this world for free. And so it's okay if not everything you do is pagan based or spirituality based. That's why I bring this up a lot, but the idea of people astral projecting to Mount Olympus every evening, I get annoyed with those people partially because I think they're putting forth this false idea of what it means to be a pagan. Religion is there to support your way of life and to support you and your needs. And paganism is, at least modern paganism, is a very personal choice and a personal belief. And obviously, I know that's kind of counter to what I said in my last video about it being community-based, but In that video, I stated that community can be even just the people around you, a Discord server. I feel like I'm just saying the same thing I did last video. Anyway, compassion, self-compassion. And one of my favorite things is to find spirituality and meaning in, like, media around me, you know? Like, if I'm reading a book can feel like a devotional act if it brings out this sense of awe in me, and I can just say, thank you, Hermes, for the gift of speech or the gift of words. Again, that's really what most of my practice is, and honestly has always been. No, I don't have time to explain spoon theory in this video, but the chances are if you've clicked on this video, you know what spoon theory is. I'll link a description of that below. I've stated before, I pray over every drink that I make, and I've been trying to do this out loud more because I find if I pray it in my head, it's easy for me to disconnect and not actually feel those words. So I pray over every drink that I make to one or more or all deities. Another thing that could be low spoon is finding something that you enjoy. So like, even though right now I'm struggling with writing music and writing stories, I'm still a digital artist, and actually I've been making some line art of the gods. Making line art for me in Adobe Illustrator is just so meditative because it's really, you just kind of zoom in on all the tiny little details and you have to look and squint at the image and see if that shadow is actually a line or if that shadow was cast from the person taking the picture, etc., etc. And then what's also fun is because line art is line art, sometimes I will print out the art and color it in, and again, that's very meditative. So finding something that's easy for you to do. And now maybe that is singing, maybe it's singing a song, maybe it's listening to music. Maybe it's building a temple in Minecraft. One of the things that I've been doing is building temples in Animal Crossing. Yeah, I guess a lot. And journaling, I've honestly fallen off journaling, so I feel like I'm the last person to recommend that. But for some people, journaling really, really works and really, really helps. So I guess the main conclusion of this is, how do you be a pagan when it's hard? Understand that there's no right way to be a pagan. Some people will recommend taking a break from religion. I don't think that's necessarily helpful or healthy, because even though I'm not doing these grandiose rituals, I am still a Hellenic polytheist. That's a part of your life, right? You know, like, I can't just take a break from being Felicity, right? I that's who I am. Or like, I don't really take a break from being an environmentalist. Now I can take a break from doing intensive actions, but I'm not taking a break from that belief set, if that makes sense. I think there's a lot of shame tied in the idea of taking a break from being a pagan. So don't look at it like that. Just look at it as, this is what it looks like for you right now. Learning to be okay with that is something that you will have to work out between you and your deities, or you and your spirits, or you and yourself. But I'm here and I'm gonna give you permission. Take it easy. You don't have to be what you perceive good pagans to be. You don't have to be what you perceive pagans to be at all. Finding ways to integrate something into your life, to me, is more important than trying to struggle to fit yourself into a label. I hope any of that made sense. So if this video goes out today, happy Samhain, happy Halloween. I'll see you on the flip side. My little Athena mug here. I bid you a wonderful fall. And for my Southern Hemisphere friends, a wonderful spring.